Welcome to the League of Women Voters of Wake County Virtual Candidate Forum for the Wake County Board of Education. My name is Cheryl Tung, and I am a member of the League of Women Voters of Wake County. The League of Women Voters of Wake County is a nonpartisan organization dedicated to empowering voters and defending democracy. We encourage informed and active participation in government, help citizens increase their understanding of major public policy issues, and work to influence public policy through education and advocacy. As a nonpartisan organization, the League of Women Voters does not endorse or oppose candidates and is proud to continue our long history of hosting candidate forums. The views, opinions, and content expressed in this presentation do not necessarily reflect the views or policies of the League of Women Voters. All candidates who filed to run for the Wake County Board of Education were invited to participate in our candidate forums. Outreach included emails, phone calls, as well as certified letters inviting candidates to respond and provide citizens an opportunity to learn about their views. Thank you to the candidates who are with us today. The Wake County Board of Education is the local governing body of the Wake Public School System. It is the largest school district in North Carolina and the 14th largest in the United States. It serves a very diverse student body and has improved its graduation rate so that almost 91% graduate from high school. Its 9 members are currently elected from 9 separate county districts. Each member represents that district within the entire board and is elected by residents of that district. The race is nonpartisan, meaning that candidates are not running as representatives of a political party and their party affiliation is not listed on the ballot. The school board sets policy for the school system implemented by the superintendent and administrative staff. The board also adopts an annual budget proposal that includes its request from local funding from the Wake County Board of Commissioners, as well as its plan for using their allocated state and federal funds. The school board does not have taxing authority. Today, we welcome candidates for District 5, Lynn Edmonds and Ted Hills. District 5 is in the middle of Wake County, slightly south of the center. Welcome, Lynn and Ted. Thank you for joining us today. We will ask every candidate for the Wake County Board of Education the same questions. The questions will cover a range of issues relevant to the scope of the board. You will have 1 minute each for your opening statement and closing statement, and 1 minute to answer each question. The last person to speak to a question will be the first person to speak on the next question. Before we begin, I would like to verify with the candidates that they have not received the questions in advance. Can you both verbally confirm?
Yes, I can confirm that.
Thank you. We're now going to start with opening statements. You have 1 minute. Lynn Edmonds, please go ahead.
Thank you, and thank you to the League for hosting this. For all of us, we appreciate it and look forward to answering your questions. I am Lynn Edmonds, and I am the current board representative for District 5, and I'm running for re-election because I genuinely love this work, and there's lots more work to be done. A little bit about me. I am a graduate of Durham Public Schools, and I've lived in District 5 for nearly 30 years. I have 2 adult children that were well educated their entire K-12 experience in Wake County Public Schools. In my first term, I supported budgets that raised pay for teachers, for bus drivers. I supported a safe gun storage resolution to help try to keep our schools safer. I supported a new strategic plan that is getting results. And I believe public schools are a public good and as such deserve our support in both our actions and financial support and in our words. And I want to continue to be that advocate on the board. Thank you.
Thank you, Lynn. Okay, Ted Hills, please go ahead with your opening statement.
Thank you, Cheryl, and thank you to the League of Women Voters for inviting me to this forum. I appreciate the opportunity. I I've been studying the state published statistics on the Wake County Public Schools, and between 27% and 39% of students are not proficient at grade level in their subjects. Additionally, almost 1,500 criminal acts were committed by students in Wake County. And I've learned that textbooks were thrown out in 2022 in large numbers and not replaced only with online tools. I'm concerned about these issues. They seem to be longstanding, and I want to join the board in order to make these things better. I myself am a product of public schools in Buffalo, New York, and I think we need to give our public school students the best education possible. The immediate impetus for... Thank you.
Thank you, Ted. We will now move to the question part of the forum. You will have 1 minute to answer each question. School safety and security is a complex topic. There has been a lot of discussion about the role of law enforcement in schools. Do you think law enforcement plays a role in school safety? And what policies or procedures do you think schools should have around school security? Lynn, you have 1 minute to answer the first question.
Sure, thank you. I do support SROs in our schools, especially at the high school level. I don't support them at the elementary level. But I also recognize that SROs make some students feel less safe. And I believe school safety has to be very comprehensive. It can't be just about preventing intruders. So some of the things that we've done is we've instituted a consistent check-in policy for all of our visitors to our schools. It used to not be consistent across the district, but now it is. And that system involves, it runs not sexual assault, but I've lost my, anyway, sexual offender list. It checks that when a person comes to visit the school with their ID. We've also got a clear bag policy for our entertainment and sporting events.
Thank you, Lynn. Ted, you now have 1 minute to answer the first question. Go ahead.
Thank you. Yes, I agree with Lynn that we need appropriately trained SROs, student resource officers in high schools especially. And we do need to protect from external threats, but we also need to address discipline problems within the schools. The teacher working conditions survey has indicated they feel that 60% of them feel that there's no control in the common areas meaning hallways, cafeteria, and restrooms. We have a student conduct policy. I think we need to dust it off and make sure it is consistently applied across all the schools in the system. I do also support the idea of metal detectors at entrances. It's probably a funding issue as to whether we get those. That's basically my answer.
Thank you, Ted. Now we're going to move on to the second question. Wake County continues to face a staffing shortage, both with teachers and hourly employees. What strategies do you think would help recruit and retain teachers and other critical staff? Ted, you have 1 minute to answer the second question.
Thank you. This is a difficult question to address, partly because a large part, most of the school system's budget is set by the state legislature. One thing we can do is lobby our state representatives for more money. We do, however, have county funds to add to teacher income, but at least one teacher has told me teachers become teachers not for the income, but for the outcome. And I think that more teachers would be happier with their jobs if they saw greater success. And I've already referred to the need to help students be academically successful. I think that that would go a long ways towards teacher satisfaction, keeping them on the job, and also safety. Almost 1,500 teachers were assaulted statewide, not in Wake County. I don't know the Wake County number, and we need to fix that. a teacher is not going to be too happy about coming to work if they feel there's a significant risk to their safety in doing so. As for the other, the non-teacher roles, again, we need to find ways to increase their income to parity with similar jobs outside the school system. We can do some of that with county money. And again, get more money from the state or reallocate resources within the system. Thank you.
Thank you, Ted.
Cheryl,
Lynn?
I'm sorry to interrupt. I was late in getting Ted's timer.
Yes, so we can add a few seconds. If Lynn wants to go over about 10, 15 seconds, go ahead. If not, we'll just continue. Are we ready to reset the timer?
Yes, we're good.
Okay, Lynn, now you have 1 minute to answer the second question.
Okay. So we do need to continue to advocate, which I've done for years, for more funding from the state, because they do set that base salary pay. We're very fortunate in Wake County that our commissioners and our community, quite frankly, show up for us time and again with providing those supplements, both for teachers and for hourly workers, such as bus drivers. We got our bus driver pay up to $20 an hour, but that is still less than what Amazon pays, or even Go Triangle, or some of the other businesses that pull from that pool of certified drivers. We also have to make sure that our school system is a great place to work, and that we address that through policy, whether that, is with student behavior, but also just in the way that we treat our staff and our employees, providing professional development. Go
ahead and finish your sentence.
Just ensuring that our teachers especially have what they need to help their students.
Great. Thank you, Lynn. We're now going to move on to the third question. Public education faces scrutiny around its value in our community. How do you view your mission to provide an excellent education for every child in Wake County? Lynn, you have 1 minute to answer the third question.
Can you restate it, please? It's a little...
Sure.
I'm not sure I'm following.
Public education faces scrutiny around its value in our community. How do you view your mission to provide an excellent education for every child in Wake County?
It's critical that we do that. So I don't know that I agree with that premise, to be honest. I believe that Wake County is a community that does believe and support in their public school system. And again, as we talked about with the budget question, that's evident in the commissioners that continue to be elected. They're all, pro-public education. They run on those pro-public education platforms, and the voters vote for them consistently, and our voters always show up for us with the funding that we asked for, which is tremendous. So I believe we are in a community that strongly supports our schools. My mission as a school board member is not only to advocate for what our school system needs, our students and our teachers, but to also be an advocate for public education. We serve a public school district that is open to all children and welcomes, all families. We don't discriminate, don't have applications or tuitions, etc. So that we have to be a cheerleader of that system.
Thank you, Lynn. Ted, you now have 1 minute to answer the third question.
Thanks. Yes, I want to join the Board of Education also to be an advocate for and a cheerleader for public education. As I mentioned, I myself am a product of public education. I think we need especially to strengthen the schools in a couple of areas. Magnet schools need more support so that kids can pursue the secondary education that best suits their interests and abilities. We also need to make a clear distinction between college and non-college tracks. I think sometimes we think that we should be preparing students to go to college, and if they don't go to college, we failed them. And I think that should not be the case. There are some kids, including myself, for which college was not the right answer, and we should be giving them the vocational or technical training that they need. Finally, I think that we just need to be humble and say that sometime the best prepared for life with a non-public school, and we should not stand in the way. We don't want to
Thank you,
create
Ted. Your time is up.
yeah.
Thank you, Ted. We will now move on to the fourth question. We have seen an increase in restrictions placed on reading materials available in school and public libraries. What do you think the school board's role should be in making materials available in school libraries? Ted, you have 1 minute to answer the fourth question.
Thank you. First of all, I think that all materials that are available to students, whether through school libraries or as textbooks or even online material, should be open for inspection by any parent or taxpayer. There should be no secrecy there. Secondly, I understand that our state laws currently make an exception. The pornography laws make an exception for schools, and I don't think that's right. We know we have pornography in school libraries, and it shouldn't be there. Beyond that, I would say, when I'm on the board, let's see what the issues are. I'll stop there.
Thank you, Ted. Lynn, you now have 1 minute to answer the fourth question.
Sure. Can you repeat it, please?
Sure. We have seen an increase in restrictions placed on reading materials available in school and public libraries. What do you think the school board's role should be in making materials available in school libraries? You have 1 minute to answer the fourth question.
So I'll lead with, I trust educators and I trust school librarians. They're professionals. They understand what's age appropriate for the children in their classrooms and the children that come into those media centers at the elementary, the middle, and the high school level. I trust their professionalism, and I believe in students' freedom to read and learn. Yes, parents have a significant role to play in what their children, read. As far if we're talking about, books of choice in classroom libraries and in the school library. But no parent has the right to dictate to another family, another, parent's child, what they should or should not have access to. So I think, the role of the school system is to trust our educators, trust our professionals. They do understand what is age appropriate, and we need to let them do that work.
Thank you, Lynn. We will now move on to the fifth and final question. School construction is paid for with local property taxes. We have some schools that are under-enrolled and some that are overcrowded. What are your suggestions on how to best balance the school population and utilize our existing capital structure? Lynn, you have 1 minute to answer the fifth question.
That's very timely, as we are opening 4 new schools next school year for 2025-26. They're largely in the southwestern part of the county because that's where the growth is saturated. And we've got tremendously overcrowding in that area of the county. So we have to balance that, when taxpayers give us money, which is where these, the bonds come from, the local taxpayers, to build these schools, we need to put children in them. And that involves reassignment because you can't just let people decide to go. There does have to be, some moving of children out of overcrowded schools into the new, school buildings. And we use the magnet schools to help us relieve some of our crowding. I mean, they're application schools, but they help tremendously pulling some families out of these really overcrowded schools in certain part of the counties into our magnet schools.
Thank you, Lynn. Ted, you now have 1 minute to answer the fifth question. You may go ahead.
Thank you. I would like to understand better which schools in Wake County have capital needs, where there are, worn out carpets in the classrooms and facilities in need of repair, and prioritize those in our capital budget. I'm not sure that's being done right now. Also, I think if we look at the non-public schools, we might learn something about how to better use our capital money. They seem to be able to build schools at less cost than the public schools can. And we should figure out why do they need less money and why can they do more with it? What could we learn from them? In addition, I agree magnet schools are a great way to reduce crowding and also to address students' special needs. I'll stop there.
Thank you. Thank you, Ted. We're now going to move on to closing statements. I want to thank you to the candidates for coming today to participate in our virtual candidate forum. We recognize that running and serving in elected office is a considerable amount of time, energy, and often sacrificed opportunities. The League, along with the residents of Wake County, is grateful that we have so many capable fellow citizens who are willing to step forward and serve the important duties as a member of the Wake County Board of Education. You have 1 minute each to make closing statements, and Lynn, you have 1 minute and you can go ahead and start.
Thank you. Again, I want to thank you for conducting this forum. I want to circle back to one thing about CTE. I'm a huge believer in different pathways for students. And in Wake County, we have a very robust CTE program for children that are not looking at university. We have CTE courses in every high school, and we have some early colleges that are specifically focused on CTE. I don't think that's well enough known in the community. So I agree with that. But I just, my campaign, I want to share some endorsements with you because I think that says a lot. The Wake NCAE, Equality NC, the Raleigh Wake Citizens Association, the Network for Public Education, the Wake County Democratic Party have all, and Moms Demand Action for Gun Sense in America and Everytown for Gun Safety have all endorsed my campaign. I, again, enjoy this work tremendously. I know that there's much more to be done, and I ask for the voters of District 5 to vote for me on November 5th. Thank you.
Thank you, Lynn. Ted, you now have 1 minute to give your closing statement. You can go ahead.
Okay, thank you again for this opportunity. I hope a lot of people look at this material and find it useful. As far as endorsements, I'm not in the race to be endorsed. I'm in the race to address, the concerns I mentioned in my opening statement and do a better job. But I do have the endorsement of the Wake County Republican Party and the NC Values Coalition. I think that we really do need to focus on why a third of our student body is not able to function at grade level. I mean, our primary mission is education. We've got to fix that. We've got to address school safety, both inside and outside, but especially inside where student behavior is a problem. We need to go back to using technology appropriately, which means we really need to get back to paper textbooks. Reading from paper is 6 to 8, reading comprehension is 6 to 8 times greater from paper.
Thank you, Ted. As we end our forum, we encourage you to visit our website, vote411.org, to learn more about the candidates on your ballot and to find the latest information on polling place hours and locations. Please make your voting plan for the upcoming election and encourage your family and friends to vote as well. Thank you again for joining us.